He says in Matthew 5:13, he says, you are the world's seasoning. The Living Bible says it like this. You are the world's seasoning. He's speaking to you and I as believers. When we say yes to Christ, he says, you are the world's seasoning to make it tolerable. If you lose your flavor, what will happen to the world? And you yourselves will be thrown out and trampled underfoot as worthless. We've seen it again and again. We live in a world where people are loyal to everything but God. Amen. You know, you go to Walmart, you can have a family reunion. Because you see them, you know, at one aisle, so, hey, how you doing? I know you, you're in Polaco. Yeah. So you still going to, am I Christian? Yeah, still. Oh, knowingly. Yeah. Oh. Are you still doing the same thing? And so what it does, it's seasoning. It's still doing something in their life. When I say yes, or if I start cussing, then I start being trampled under the foot of men. And so they don't mind being faithful and loyal and having a covenant with all sorts of things. But when it comes to God, well, you're just kind of overdoing it. Oh, but you're not overdoing it. You know, I mean, we don't have to apologize for being a Christian. Hey, man, you don't have to. You know, I'm sorry, I don't drink. I wish I could, but I'm a Christian. How pathetic that is. I say, man. Anyway, let's move on. You know, in the past, I've seen men with Tupac Shakur tattoos on their chest. Loyal to a rebel. I was reading about an Elvis fan. Anybody's an Elvis fan tonight? Don't get too angry at me. But she moved from her hometown to live where Elvis was born. She did all that she could to get one of the streets that are named after Elvis. She's seen his movies over and over. She's seen Love Me Tender 107 times. Loving You 110 times. King Creole 91 times. Jailhouse Rock 79 times. Has 12 photo albums with 40,000 photos of him. A man-sized cardboard replica of Elvis overlooking her bed. Not including necklaces, posters, plates, music records, and tapes. And so, Elvis, Vernon Presley. But Jesus has done a whole lot more for you and I. And so Jesus spoke about loyalty in terms of our walk with him. Loyalty during times of persecution. Loyalty during times where people are perhaps despised or they thought lowly of. He says in Matthew 5, Jesus does, the words in red, he says, blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled by men. And so, every conviction that you and I have as Christians, that we learn in Sunday school, that we learn in sermons, all those will be challenged. They'll be challenged by the world. They'll be challenged by your family, your unsaved friends. They'll begin to question you. They'll begin to challenge you and try to put you on your heels. And you've got to stay salty. You've got to stay committed, regardless of what they say. Loyalty to cut off those things. Job, he says, I made a covenant. You and I can make covenants with God. Say, God, help me. Help me to be faithful in this area of my life. And so we make choices. You know, for the last 43 years, my wife and I, we haven't had a TV in our house. you want one? Do you? No, no, no. We made a choice a long time ago that I don't want that in our house. One, it was a standard that our fellowship had for those in ministry. And anybody, it doesn't mean that you can't come to church if you have one. But he's saying if you're going to be in ministry, you're going to have a higher priority. And so years ago, and we're so comfortable, people have tried, our family has, tried to mail us some, buy us some. I said, no, it's not that we don't, the teachers have called us, speaking to our kids, we heard that you don't have one. Is everything okay? So what do you guys do? I said, we spend time with each other. We read. We go to the library. Yeah, we don't need one. No, don't want HBO, all that. We don't want I don't know if they know they have HBO anymore, but we used to call it house bubbling over. I don't want that into my living room. So we choose friends. Bible says that light has no fellowship with darkness. Loyalty to paying the